whips it into the back of the net, and the Cougars go up 3-1.
He'll swung on and missed, strike three.
Shot, fade away three, got it!
Wow.
Oh, what a shot!
Welcome once again to another week of the Bobby Cremins Show, where we will talk all about Cougar basketball and every facet of Cougar basketball. And of course, I'm joined by the head coach of the Cougar basketball team, Bobby Cremins. Coach, we're going to talk about 2011 as it ended 10-3, and most important, 2-0 in the league. But just sum up that 2011 before we get into 12.
Well, when you look at the whole picture early on, Nate, we're doing well. Unfortunately, we will talk about the George Mason game that we lost, but our record overall is good. We played a tough schedule, and we've had some really close games, and we've had some great wins. George Mason, the thing that bothered me about the George Mason game is that they took us out of our game. I know Ryan Pearson had a great game, 35 points. Paul Hewitt, my successor at Georgia Tech, he came in and he did a couple of defensive schemes that I thought we could handle, and we did not handle. And what was really upsetting about it was they just took us out of our flow. What a great crowd we had. We had no students, but we had the building sold out.
That's amazing.
And I got to thank our fans so much for doing that. So, Nate, you know, you love to end the year on a win, on a high note. So I was a little disappointed that, again, we were not ourselves. And lose, when you play your game and you lose, that's all part of it. But when you lose because it's something that you are responsible for, it hurts a little bit.
We'll talk about Pearson in a second, but Antoine Wiggins had a heck of a second half in that game as well.
He fought hard. Antoine really fought hard, and we needed it. And that was, after the game, I told the players the one positive thing was even though George Mason deserved to win, took us out of our game, we cut it to 2 and really had a great chance there late. So, but you're right, Antoine did some great things, great offensive rebounds, and made some great drives.
And speaking of how you did cut it back, and you guys never do this, and no Cremins teams ever do this, but they kept fighting even though it just wasn't their day offensively, and you guys hung in there and, as you said, cut it to 2 points late.
You know, that's one great thing about coaching. If you have a team that hangs in there, and this team has a lot of heart, anything can happen, and that's what we did. We were not pretty. Our fans are probably saying, what's going on? And again, I give George Mason so much credit for doing some of the defensive schemes. But we hung in there, and we almost pulled out another one.
Now, they did a lot of things because Pearson had such a good game, and you tried a lot of different things. Maybe something we look ahead for Cougars in the future, double on the post, different guys on the post. I know you had Antoine on him late in the game.
We went into the game, we were definitely going to help out on Pearson, and at times, especially when he put the ball on the floor, we were going to double him. And we actually had him trapped one time, and he did a spin move and made a great shot off the backboard, and that was a big shot. So, but George Mason went to the NCAAs last year, upset Villanova. This team knows how to win. They have a new coach, so they'll go through a little transition period. But Paul's doing a great job with them. They had a young man who was out. Now he's back. And I think they'll be a factor in the Colonial League. And, in the Colonial, you got VCU, you got Old Dominion. Drexel. And they have a very good conference. So it was a tough game for us to lose at home because we've done so well. And it's something that we have to learn from. After the game, I also told the team, we got to do 2 things. We got to learn from this game, and secondly, we got to put it behind us.
Well, a great homestand, which didn't end the way you wanted it to, against George Mason, and then you take your team up the road to Spartanburg against the Wofford Terriers and Coach Mike Young.
Well, Nate, after you play a game like that, you realize why they won the Southern Conference 2 years in a row and represented the Southern Conference in the NCAA tournament. We ran into a buzzsaw. I can't say enough about the job Mike Young does. And we just had so much difficulty guarding them. And then we switch it around and we get back in the game, and there's so much pressure on us to make some shots. But truthfully, they played an outstanding basketball game. Nate, we're in a little bit of a slump right now, and we got to bounce out of this, and we got to get our mojo back that we had earlier on. Because right now we're just there's just something that's missing, and we got to find out what that missing link is and get back to playing college or Charleston basketball. But you know, when you look at the tape, you see them coming off of screens and they're wide open. And you've got to give them a lot of credit. We worked hard. My assistants, they did a fantastic job. Man-to-man defense and zone defense, but we had so much difficulty. They're two seniors, Losing and Glittner.
Yeah.
They're just outstanding shooters. They got beautiful strokes. They got beautiful space on the court. And we just could not get into rhythm. And I feel terrible, because we've always had such great games against Wofford. And Nate, again, the positive thing is there were times Norrie Johnson came off the bench.
Yes, he did.
And helped us. Anthony Stitt started the second half, and we cut it to like 5 and 6, and had some chances to really stay right there in the game where anything can happen. And then it just they just kept on making those shots.
Well, one momentum play I think to your team's detriment was one time Anthony Stitt's in one corner, and somebody drives and Andrew Lawrence ends up in the other corner, shot goes up and misses, and they get a breakaway out of it. And Cochran, who had 5 threes in the first half, got an easy one.
Yeah, Nate, it's simple. We got some work to do, and we just got to get it back. I just got to really put my my mind to the grinder and just try and figure out what is that little key solution that could give us back some confidence and get momentum back.
What about, you played both defenses in that game, zone and man. They were both good in spots, but then Wofford hit some shots. Are you leaning one way or the other about which way to go with it?
We definitely wanted to play some zone, and the zone has helped us in the past, and it actually helped us a few times, Nate. And again, you said it right when we went to the zone. We get stops and we couldn't score, even late in the game. Late in the game, when it was like 7-8 point game, we finally get a couple of stops, but we couldn't score. And but yes, we'll continue to utilize the zone.
Antoine Biggins had a tough first half.
Yeah.
But as always, he fought back.
He did fight back. We put so much pressure. He's our only senior, and we put so much pressure on him, Nate. And we just need him so much for him to step up. But he did fight back. He made a couple of shots. There's a lot of pressure on him right now.
Andrew Lawrence leads you with 14. He had a couple in transition. And you took a little bit of the heat off him by putting Anthony Stitt at the point, which you have to because he's tired.
Well, we didn't start Jordan Scott second half because Anthony Stitt plays such good defense.
I agree. Turnover, first possession, second half.
Yeah, and we had such a great opportunity a couple of times. And Nate, when you have an opportunity to knock on the door, you got to. But again, tonight, it was all Wofford. Going up to Spartanburg, you got to give credit where credit's due. And right now, Nate, I give all the credit to Wofford.
One of the best plays of the night to get you back into this basketball game was Andrew Lawrence driving the length of the court. It is our Coca-Cola play of the week. He gets the ball in transition. I believe it's from Ajay Baru. He goes flying down the court. Nobody slows him down. Nobody stops the ball for Wofford. He goes in. He makes the layup. He gets fouled. And an and one situation. He's strong. He's very athletic. And he can do that many times in a basketball game. And you can see right here from the baseline view, Andrew Lawrence coming right at you with the foul and the and one. It is our Coca-Cola play of the week against the Wofford Terriers. Andrew Lawrence, junior point guard from London, England. Welcome back once again to the Bobby Cremins Show, and this is Cougar Conversations, where we take somebody from the program every week and talk to them, and we're very fortunate to have Anthony Stepp with us, a freshman on the basketball team this year from Butler High School in Matthews, which is obviously Charlotte, same kind of area. One semester under your belt. Academically, athletically, how did it measure up to what you thought it was going to be?
It was everything I thought it was going to be. I had a lot of fun. It was kind of tough academically, kind of tough to get my time management good, but
Right.
It's pretty good now. I'm in the flow of things, got everything going.
That's good. Down in the Bahamas early in the season. First of all, what was Atlantis like? That's a pretty cool place. I've seen pictures.
That place is amazing. It was big. We went in there. It was big, luxurious. That gym was in the hotel. It was like a 5-minute walk in the hotel. It was crazy.
That was pretty neat. And 3 games down there, obviously. You had a really big game. We're sitting on the basketball court, obviously, at the TD Arena, near the baseline where you had a huge shot down in the Bahamas against UNC Asheville. In a crucial situation, in a late situation in the game. Do you think about it, or is it just routine after that? I got the ball, I'm going to shoot it. And you made it, and you turned the game around for the Cougars.
Well, the play going into that, Andrew Lawrence had drove, and I was open, and I told him, you pass it, I'm going to hit the shot. We ran the same play. The man helped again, and I hit the shot.
That was great. And then the next game, you had even a better game, 23 points.
Yes, sir.
So your confidence, and I know Coach Cremins is great about building confidence, but your confidence had to be tremendous going into a situation like that where he relies on you and you come through.
Yes. I just felt comfortable. Felt like I should be taking that shot, or I should be playing like this. I got my confidence up, and he believes in me. The team believes in me, so it makes my confidence even higher.
You came into this situation knowing Andrew Lawrence was going to probably be the point guard. You might get a little time. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that has evolved into much more time. How comfortable is it? Because there's basically, for Coach Cremins, there's 2 point guards on the floor. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you bring it up. Sometimes Andrew brings it up. And obviously, one of you is designated as that. But how comfortable is that knowing that I got to take the heat, but sometimes I don't have to?
In my high school, I had another wing player that played with me. It was also like this type of situation. He went to Wagner, so whenever the rebound came off, whoever was closest brought it up. We just like interchanged positions, so I'm kind of used to that.
Oh, it's great. So it's something you're used to now. I looked up some stuff here. Robert Anthony Stitt, but it's Anthony. Why is it Robert?
Well, I just don't like the name Robert. Really, I don't know. It's just something. From when I was real young, I always told my teachers and everything to call me Anthony.
Oh, that's good. Well, Coach Cremins and I will do the same as well. It's now Anthony. I'll never bring it up again. On the basketball court, how much different is it? You just talked about the similarity in high school where you had basically 2 point guards, and we do here as well when you're at the College of Charleston. How different is the game?
The game speed is totally different. It's way faster. People are a lot stronger, and you can tell you can't give nobody just a free open because everybody is really good and they're going to hit the shot. So that's the only thing. That's what I think is different from high school.
I have heard a lot of interviews, and a lot of people have interviewed you. You talk about this place and how cool it is to play in here when it's loud.
Yeah.
What's it like? I mean, I've obviously spectated and done games on television here. What's it like when this place is going nuts as a player on the court?
My adrenaline's just pumping. It's a great atmosphere. It might not be the biggest arena, but it's definitely good. I like it. I like the fan support right behind the basket. Got everybody cheering for you right here. Just a big time environment. It
seats a little over 5,000, 5,100. It feels to me like there's a whole lot more than that in here when it gets nuts. Same thing as a player?
Yes, it's like right on top of you, all around, you just hear them. I can hear some of the conversations and the things sometimes, like, let's go in and get the ball in the post. So, yeah, I like that environment.
You knew about Coach Cremins. Obviously, they recruited you. You came here to the College of Charleston. What's he like as what you thought he would be as a coach and now playing for him in a game as a coach?
My visit, he was always straightforward, told me everything, didn't beat around the bush on anything, and that's exactly how he is as a coach. When you're messing up, he's going to let you know and try to give you a solution to fix it. When you're doing good, he's going to let you know. He's going to always be straightforward with you.
What is he doing? I've known the man for more years than you've been alive. What does he do to instill so much confidence in players as shooters? Because you guys have great confidence when you shoot the ball.
In practice, he tells us to shoot. So you practice the way you play. So that's exactly what happens.
That's great. Anthony Stitt, best of luck to you the rest of this year.
Right,
and you're going to watch this guy for 4 years at the College of Charleston. He's going to be special. We'll be back with more of the Bobby Cremins Show right after this.
Thank you.
Welcome back once again to the Bobby Cremins Show. And now's the portion of the show where we talk about the next week's opponents and just various things around the NCAA. Of course, brought to you by our great friends at Piggly Wiggly. Coach, up to the Greenville area to play Furman. Coach Jeff Jackson, you know very well. Been a tough opponent for the Cougars in the past, and they have the Reddick twins, Colin Reddick inside at 6'9", Charlie Reddick outside, Brandon Sebarumbi, if I say his name correct. Bryson Barnes, a 6'6", really good athlete. They're getting better in the season.
They're getting a lot better. And when the first thing I think about Furman is that semifinal conference tournament game last year. But Jeff Jackson got them going, and these big guys inside. I'm a little familiar with them. They're from Atlanta.
Yep.
So I'm familiar with those Atlanta players, and they're tough, Nate. And Jeff has brought Furman basketball back. He struggled early in his career, and now he's got them going. They had us beat in the semifinals. I know Coach will talk about that, and we made a great comeback in that game. But Nate, these conference games are always tough, and I expect nothing but another tough road game, especially going to Furman.
And it's tough in the Greenville area too, because a lot of Cougar fans, but there's a whole lot of Greenville Furman fans as well.
Furman has great tradition in basketball, but I'm happy for Jeff. Jeff's a class guy, and he does a great job, and it's good to see him get it going.
And then Cougars come back home to play UNC Greensboro, and it's an unusual situation that you've been a part of. Mike DeMint resigns very early in the season. His assistant coach was a great point guard at North Carolina. Wes Miller takes over. He's the youngest coach in Division I basketball, 28. And you were the youngest coach in Division I when you got the job at Appalachian State. What's he dealing with mentally right now?
Yeah, one day my assistants, they just told me that Mike DeMint had resigned. And, Mike played a tough schedule. Everybody's familiar with Wes Miller because he played for the Tar Heels. And I'll tell you what, Nate, this young man, he could shoot the basketball. So it is what it is, Nate. It's tough for Mike, but maybe it was time for Mike to get out of there. Maybe he felt down deep that it wasn't working, and you got to appreciate Mike if that's the way he felt. You can't cheat the game, and if he felt like it wasn't working and he stepped aside, then good for him. Now for Wes Miller, it's a new opportunity. It's a tough situation. It's tough. All of a sudden, right there in the early part of the season. Usually, if something like this happens, it happens later in the season.
Right.
So Wes Miller's got to hang in there and try and bring this team together. They're capable. They got some players. Greensboro has always been a tough game for us. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, Wes coming from North Carolina, I'm sure he'll implement the North Carolina system.
I was just going to say, I've watched them on tape, and they're trying to run a lot more. They have Darrell Armstrong and Trevor Simpson in the backcourt, and he's trying to get it up and down the floor, which they didn't do as much under Mike DeMint.
No, and that's all style. That's a different style of basketball. So, when you have a change like that, a lot of good things can happen. And Wes Miller, he's young, he's energetic. I know he'll teach him how to shoot. And he's been under a great system in North Carolina, so I expect them to improve.
Now, the season is changing in that the guarantee games are over, the big-time marquee games are over for everybody, not just for the Cougars. And now, except for the teams that are in bracket buster, it's conference basketball the rest of the way, and Southern Conference basketball, obviously, for your guys. How does your approach and the young people's approach to those games change because now it's all conference basketball?
Yeah, Nate, I've said this many times. The most important games to me are conference games. And I learned that when I coached in the ACC. Now, the Tech fans, they used to get mad at me because there was a game in our schedule called the Georgia Bulldogs. And I used to get these notes about, hey, Coach, the most important game on your schedule is Georgia, not the conference. But I would write them back and say, no, it's not. But that was a big rivalry. Conference is different basketball. We know each other very well. Of course, there's two big prizes in our conference. The regular season winner gets an automatic NIT bid, and of course the tournament winner gets the big ticket to the big dance.
And as you say, everybody knows everybody very, very well. Do you change what you do as far as practice and preparation?
No. It's more emphasis. Probably a little bit more scouting. But we know each other so well, Nate, so we got to be ready for anything.
Well, conference basketball, Cougars are 2-0 with only 16 more conference games to go. 18 conference games in the Southern Conference. And it's going to be a special conference and a special year for this man and his team. We'll be back to close out the show right after these messages. Welcome back once again to the Bobby Cremins Show. And as Coach Cremins just alluded to in the last segment, except for a bracket buster game, it is SoCon games the rest of the way. And the Southern Conference games are so important because if you finish top 2 in your division, you get a bye in the first round of the tournament. Of course, the Cougars are in the Southern Division, along with a lot of good teams, including Furman and Georgia Southern and Davidson. So it's going to be a great Southern Conference schedule the rest of the way. In fact, you can see the next home game, which will be against the UNC Greensboro Spartans on January 12th at 8 p.m. on MyTV Charleston. And of course, you can see us every Saturday at noon on the Bobby Cremins Show on MyTV Charleston. The TD Arena is empty right now, but Coach Cremins and his team needs all Cougar fans to come out and support his team the rest of the way in the Southern Conference. It's going to be a great season in 2012. It's pretty good 2011 so far. So for Coach Cremins and myself, Nate Ross, we want to thank you for watching the Bobby Cremins Show, and we'll see you next week once again to watch the Bobby Cremins Show.